Good afternoon to those of you participating from the East Coast and the mighty middle, and good morning to those of you in the mountain region and westward. My name is Dan Hoffman. I'm the CEO of Invest Nebraska. Joining me today is Matt Foley, Program Director for the Combine Nebraska's Ag Tech Incubator. We are here to present the Heartland Robotics Cluster located in Nebraska. The past 2 years, we've all experienced supply chain disruptions caused by the pandemic. This was even more evident in the food supply chain as labor markets were squeezed due to the COVID virus, the Great Resignation, and employees finding new upstream labor opportunities in new industries. In Nebraska, this was clearly evident through our historically tight labor market. Nebraska's labor inputs are constrained by the lowest unemployment rate in the country ever recorded, the highest labor participation rate in the country, but a population growth rate that ranked 20th in the country last decade, exactly the same as the US population growth rate. Our assets include our largest industry, which is agriculture, closely followed by a strong manufacturing industry. Agriculture represents 40% of the state's economic output. For Nebraska to increase its output or its GDP, we must either increase our inputs or increase our labor productivity through innovation and technology. The Heartland Robotics Cluster is focused on innovation and productivity.
So throughout the past 12 to 18 months, there's been a lot of, both by necessity and also by opportunity, activity in robotics, advanced manufacturing, and automation. As Dan described, a lot of this has happened post-pandemic as private sector companies and institutional partnerships have recognized we need more innovation and automation. And what does that mean for our startup ecosystem? And what does it mean for our large manufacturers and for the university and for OEMs across the state that recognize we need innovative solutions for labor and technology for our largest industries. So to move forward, we have some key critical partners that are part of this cluster.
The Heartland Robotics Cluster currently includes 6 component projects. The University of Nebraska-Lincoln, our flagship Big Ten research university, will educate a new generation of students in robotic engineering, complemented with robotic R&D and agriculture. Northeast Community College in rural Norfolk, Nebraska, and Metro Community College in urban Omaha, Nebraska, will develop new automation and robotic curriculum for 2-year degrees and conduct community outreach to underserved populations. The Nebraska Manufacturing Extension Partnership is the leading technical assistance organization for Nebraska's rural and urban manufacturers and will equip the demonstration space complemented with programming to automate production processes for manufacturers. Nebraska Innovation Studio, located on Nebraska Innovation Campus in Lincoln, will expand its footprint for a robotics lab with relevant programming focused on the hardware needs of robotic startups. And lastly, the Combine, Nebraska's Ag Tech Incubator.
To continue to support early stage ag tech robotic companies, we see an opportunity to add more technical assistance. Some of the first companies that came out of the incubator program and have raised venture capital are solutions in meat processing, poultry robotics, and grain storage and management. So to continue this trend, we've established 5 key pillars for this cluster.
Those 5 pillars include the private industry, which is represented by the Heartland Industry Advisory Council, and it's comprised of startups, small to medium-sized manufacturers, and OEMs in Nebraska. These companies have committed to hire over 1,000 individuals trained and educated in automation and robotic engineering through our community colleges and university over the next 5 years. The second pillar is workforce education provided by the community colleges and the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. The third pillar is community and governance, and that includes the outreach by community colleges to the general community and various underserved communities around the state. This pillar also includes the governance of the Heartland Robotics Cluster. The fourth pillar is infrastructure and R&D. The demonstration spaces, the R&D laboratories and equipment, along with the associated technical assistance programming needed to support manufacturing automation and robotics and explore new innovations in that industry. And lastly is the pillar for robotic ag tech startups, focused on robotics and irrigation automation. You'll see that all 5 pillars are encompassed by equity. Based on EDA's broad definition of equity, each of the 6 component projects have developed their respective programming for equity. As an example, Nebraska ranks 4th nationally for the number of high school and middle school teams per student population participating in national and international robotic competitions. However, students in our urban underserved communities are not participating in these competitions due to cost and mentorship. Metro Community College will address this inequity through the Heartland Robotics Cluster and a local nonprofit STEM organization. This will build a pipeline of students showing an early interest in robotics and demonstrate a pathway to 2-year or 4-year degrees in robotics and automation. That concludes our presentation. Matt and I would be happy to answer any questions from the audience.